On paper, the Toyota Yaris Cross might not seem like the most interesting car on the market. This 1.5 litre 3-cylinder petrol engine combined with some hybrid technology, delivering a 0 to 62 times 11.2 seconds and 114 brake horsepower of output. It's got very impressive fuel economy with WLTP figures of 62.7, actually easy to beat in the real world, and it's got boot capacity of 397 litres. But there's more to it than just that, so let's find out more.
Right, so let's start with the bad bits, folks. This Yaris is more expensive than a couple of major rivals. Certainly when you look at things like the T-Roc and you look at things like the Ford Puma, it's more expensive. This starts at 25 grand, just under 25 grand, and the top spec one's just under 30 grand. Now, we'll get on to why you might recoup some of that money, or how you may recoup some of that money in a sec. But you do have to think, well, it's pricing itself against some fairly stiff competition, albeit I dare say this will hold its value on the used market a lot better than either of those two cars are likely to. It is reasonably well spec though in this design model. I've got climate control, I've got reversing camera, I've got Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, I've got a digital or partly digital instrument display here. So it is reasonably well spec'd. You've also got a great size boot in this. It's just under 400 litres, I think it's 397. And that boot's a good shape and size, and you've got a little bit of underfloor storage. Speaking of that boot floor, you can change it. There is a little shelf so you can have it higher or lower. The floor's a tiny bit flimsy, and personally I prefer it in the lower setting. People always go on about these flat load floors, but how many times have you put your shopping in the back of one of those flat floors, you undo the boot on a slight slope and everything falls out? So unless I'm going to IKEA or something like that, I actually like a little lip in the boot because it helps to hold the shopping in. Now it's got that nice large boot, but unfortunately the rear legroom could be a bit better. If you get a couple of adults in there that say 6 foot and you've got a couple of 6-footers in the front, it's going to be a little bit cramped. And you certainly don't want to squeeze a third adult into the back because it would then be a little bit too close for comfort. But I guess if you want to ferry around 4 passengers on a regular basis, you wouldn't be looking at a mini SUV, would you? It's a nimble little car around town, no problems getting this into tight parking spaces or anything like that. It's really nice and manoeuvrable. Steering's nicely weighted as well. I really quite like driving this thing, a lot more than I thought I would, in fairness. It has got the eCVT gearbox, which boring people will be able to tell you quite a lot about. It's not a traditional CVT gearbox in any way, shape or form, but it feels slightly like one. However, it's far less offensive than a traditional CVT gearbox in my humble opinion. Honda are using these right across the range now, as are Toyota. What that does do, however, is give you absolutely phenomenal fuel economy. I think the WLTP number on this is about 63, and I've done, I don't know, 100 and something miles in this, most of them around town, like 90% of them around town, and I've got 63 mpg. 63 mpg around town in a little 1.5 car. It's bonkers. So it's more expensive to buy than its rivals, but it's actually going to hold on to its value reasonably well, and it's going to save you quite a lot of money while you're actually driving the thing. The running costs on it are going to be incredibly low. So don't be put off by that headline figure, and obviously do come and test drive one. In terms of the interior, it's a bit boring, it's a bit bland. It's like the designers had a bit of a day off. The material quality is all a bit hard, but it feels incredibly durable. So I don't have any sort of qualms about the quality of it. It's just not particularly luxurious to feel. Despite the lack of interest and excitement though, there are some nice little features. You've got a little shelf underneath the main infotainment screen to put your mobile phone. USB socket's just underneath it, so that's all quite convenient. You do have twiddly knobs and dials for the air conditioning system. You've got buttons on the infotainment system, but you've also got thumb controls on the steering wheel, which are all nice and easy to use, really easy to find and just logically laid out. So no issues with that whatsoever. The steering wheel's nice and comfortable, the information display's nice and clear. there's not really anything to dislike about this car. I guess one other slight downside with the car is that suspension's a tiny bit crashy over really harsh bumps, but I'm nitpicking really. This is a head rather than heart car, okay? You don't get in the car and feel excited. You don't get in the car and fall in love with it. There aren't those little touches that make it quirky or anything else. It just does the job it's supposed to do, and it does it really, really well, and it does it very frugally. Since I started making this video, I've probably done about 15 miles, and I've done 71 mpg. It's bonkers. From a cold start, 71 mpg. So how do I feel about this car going back? I'm going to be gutted. That's right, despite the fact this is a head car and not a heart car, I'm going to be gutted to see it go back because it does its job so well. I've had the kids in here, I've had a load of shopping in here, it still drives absolutely great. I've been able to park it in places I would never normally be able to take a review car because they're too wide and too big these days. This one fits into any car parking space with room to spare. It's a great little thing. It just makes you feel kind of free. And really folks, despite the fact that it's not going to excite you, it will absolutely delight you because it's a brilliant car that does the job at hand absolutely admirably. And there's something about a car that gets on with its job and makes your life nice and easy that makes you love it. And I love this. If you'd like to see the latest lease price on a Yaris Cross, please check the link in the video description and pinned as the top comment to Lease Loco. That will show you the lease prices on a Yaris Cross at the time you click that link, so it's constantly updated. Please also give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Thanks for watching folks, see you next time.